off the inevitable bankruptcies in this industry. Stephen Leeb, president of Leeb Capital Management, author of the forthcoming book Game Over, and Peter Schiff, president of Euro Pacific Capital and author of Crash Proof: How to Profit from the Coming Economic Collapse. They're here to tell us what the next year could bring and what they think about this this bailout. Let me start with you first. Did the president do the right thing, and is it going to help? Is it going to help prevent disorderly bankruptcies in this industry?
In both instances, yes, Christine, he did the right thing. Now, that doesn't mean that the auto industry is going to survive a year from now, but we have to deal with an economic crisis here and now, and we cannot afford to have a couple of 100,000 people unemployed in the context of what's going on now, especially given recent evidence that the economy, believe it or not, there's some very strong statistics that suggest that the economy isn't improving. Its rate of decline is definitely lessening. I would hate to see that disturbed right now. There will be a time, if the auto industry cannot get its act together in 2009, to engineer an orderly bankruptcy. Now is not the time. He's buying time at a minimum, and maybe miracles happen. The auto industry could survive.
Peter, you agree?
Absolutely not. You know, I think he's doing the wrong thing. Bankruptcy is what's needed here. We need a legitimate restructuring. We need to allow market forces to operate. We don't need government intervention. These companies...
The president actually said that in his comments. He said, normally I would not want to intervene. Well, normally I would let market forces take their, under ordinary circumstances, I'd let market forces play out, but these are not ordinary circumstances.
Well, that's a bunch of nonsense, and he's buying into this, the nonsense from the auto executives and the auto labor union. This is when we need market more. When times are tough, we have to rely on the market. We can't rely on government. What's going to happen is they're not going to meet the criteria. They're going to come back under the new administration, and they're going to say, you know what? Things got even worse. It's even worse than we thought. We can't need it. We need more time, and they're going to get billions more, and it's going to go on and on and on. It's going to be a never-ending money pit, and we're going to prevent restructuring.
This kind of crystal balling, I really don't buy.
You don't need a crystal ball for that.
We don't really know whether the auto... How do you know?
What do you mean? These guys have been losing money for years.
I know. How do you know that the economy won't recover? How do you know the economy won't recover next year?
It can't recover. The government's making it worse.
Give me one example of a depression in the history of modern capitalism. What are you laughing at? I haven't even asked the question.
Yes, I know what you're going to say.
Give me one example of a depression in modern One.
Well, look at Argentina.
Yeah, they came out.
Well,
they came out with courtesy of the government.
No.
That one example of where a country came out of a depression. Peter, let me finish talking. I'm just asking a simple question. One example of a depression that was cured without government intervention.
No,
one.
What depression was cured with government? Give me an example. No, it wasn't.
Yes.
No, Roosevelt didn't cure it.
No, I'll tell you.
Read your history.
What do you think the Second World War was, Peter? That was not a stimulus.
No,
that was called a
pure
$2 trillion. The Second World War was nonsense.
Okay, so what
the Second World War was nonsense.
Do we think?
But it didn't cure our economy.
Of course it did. Of course it did, Peter. Going into it.
Let me ask you this. Do we think
we could
have got out of it without a war?
How?
What, so you think wars are positive?
No.
You think wars help us?
No, I never said that. I asked you a question, Peter, and you haven't answered yet. No, you haven't.
Okay, if you
let me ask you a question.
Stop talking.
No, because you won't answer my question.
There's never been a depression that was cured by government.
Peter,
the Great Depression.
No.
And the stimulus
can you get out of this without? Can you get out of this situation that we're in without government intervention right now?
Yes, we can.
One example.
Will you be quiet for a second? Look, the Great Depression was caused by the government. The bubble in the 1920s was caused by the government. The government exacerbated
the 1920s.
The stock market. That was caused by the Federal Reserve. And when it burst, the government interfered. Hoover and then Roosevelt created the Great Depression.
By trying to step away.
Okay, so you have no idea what you're talking about.
I do. You had a 50% rally.
I'm going to find out for the two of you what the answer is then. So you're saying, Peter, no government intervention. At this point, let everything happen as it will.
The government is in the process of creating something far worse than the Great Depression. We are going to have hyperinflation. Our economy is going to be completely ruined. Our currency is going to be destroyed by the government and by the Federal Reserve. They couldn't be doing something more wrong if they did it intentionally.
Okay, I'll give Peter the benefit of the doubt on this one. I think that this will lead to a lot of inflation.
Guys, these are important arguments, so we got to leave it here. We're out of time. The economy could bounce back maybe in 2000.